Alright, hey guys, this is Ken with Kenjutsu Bring It to Life, and today I'd like you to follow along as I model a breaching hammer, the CQC-20 breaching hammer from Helldivers 2. I previously made another model, but I found a better picture and I always felt a little, it always felt a bit off the first model, so I'm going to make another one, hopefully that's more accurate. So here we go, starting with that. I'm going to hit Shift A in order to open up this menu and get us our reference image. Actually, first I'm going to hit this Y positive side just so we can get a nice clear image of what we're doing. We're probably not going to need that cube. And back to Shift A, reference, and we're going to try to find our reference image. Here that is. And this is the image that I found most recently. I guess I was too lazy to find it last time, but this gives us a really nice look at the details of the hammer. Mine was a bit off since I was using the images from the game that I got, and just the scale seemed off. So hopefully we'll make a more accurate version this time. So we're going to do our best to center this image as best we can. And then the first thing I'm going to do is start on the haft. Originally I used a 1-inch piece of PVC pipe for the haft. This time I'm going to go with a 3/4 because this appears to have some detail I didn't get on that. So having the smaller pipe will give us a bit more wiggle room without adding too much weight and volume. So let's start off with that. Now the first thing we need is the diameter of that 3/4 pipe, and I wrote it down. So it's 27.2 millimeters. So we need, I hit Shift A again, open this menu, and then we want to go over to Mesh, Circle, and then we'll open up the menu for that. Ooh, we need to switch over these. Let's go to Scene, Units, and then Length. We'll go from meters to millimeters. And I guess we can delete this circle, right click and then hit delete, and we'll open another one just so we can get that circle menu back up. And what was it again, 27.2? Yeah, 27.2. 7.2, but since this is radius, we're going to divide that in half. You can put equations right in there, hit enter. Now we got 13.6. So our circle went way down because we changed the scale, so we're going to shrink that down. Oh, actually, we can do this a bit easier by doing 3D cursor, and now we'll shrink towards the 3D cursor. So our circle is there. And we'll want the pipe to be a bit beefier. So around there. And there's our circle. Let's go ahead and move this back. I clicked on the image, hit G to move, and then across the y-axis to push it back just a bit. Just give us some room to work. Alright. Okay, so this is our pipe's diameter here. So we're going to want to expand this a bit. Let's see. Maybe we should do this part first. And from here, I'm going to hit E to extrude, and we're just going to hit S to scale outward. Actually, let's go up here to individual origins, just so it comes out from where we're extruding. And let's, wait, actually, let's scale that out to about here-ish, it seems like. And it looks like this sides over here are still rounded while this area is kind of flat. So to do that, we're going to go into our X, and then we're going to go into X-ray view, and we'll pick these vertices. Maybe we'll get a few more. Well, let's see if that's about where that would be. And if we're on individual, let's see if this works. I'll go to S for scale, and then I'll hit Y and then 0 to straighten those along those axes, and it worked. Alright. And we're going to want to push those in a bit. So let's gather those guys up again, and I'd just like to switch over to that. I'm not going to use that yet. And we'll go to median. So we're working with the middle point here, and we will hit S for scale and then Y again, and then we'll just move that in a bit. I think that's about where. Let's see how thick this line is. 3.4, that should be enough. That should be enough. It's a little tight, but that should be enough. So we got that shape going. And from there, we'll just collect all of this. Actually, you know what? Let's just get these. So switching to edge mode with 2, and then Shift Alt left clicking to gather those edges up, and then we'll hit E to extrude, and we'll just pull that down all the way to about here. So now we have some different shapes going on over here. So let's see. How do we want to do that? So I'm thinking I will Shift D on this to duplicate, and then we'll enlarge it a bit, hitting Z to look at it from above, and then we'll scale it out so these lines match a bit better. It's more like what it was before we straightened out those areas. And then, how do I want to do that? Let's see, I'll just extrude these downward. And now this is something we have to deal with. Because I don't know if it's like slanted or if it's just a cut suddenly here. Difficult to say, but this is one way we can do it. Okay, from there, we left clicked on that, and then we're hitting F3 to open this menu to get cursor to active. And so now when we open up our Shift A and pick a circle, it'll appear there instead of up there. And then we'll hit rotate along the X, and we'll do a 90-degree rotation. And then we'll create this circle about so these vertices line up as cleanly as we can get. About there. And then we'll get rid of these. Boop. And then we will bind these together over here. We're hitting merge. And then since it should be pretty close. Okay, before I went to snap, I hit active to vertex to make this a little easier. I actually want the other one. So I got that one underneath there. And do the same over here. So those are now merged with the circle. And I'm thinking we'll do some edge loop stuff over here. So let's get these going. Actually, you know what? Let's duplicate this. Grab all that and hit Shift D for duplicate, G, and then Y to bring it over here with snap still on. And we got both of those now. And so from here, we'll select these. Oops, don't want those. But just select these over here that are still rounded. And these that match it. And then we'll hit 2 to go into edge mode, right click, and then bridge edge loops to get that going. And we'll do the same over here. Try not to get those down there. And then again, right click, bridge edge loops. Now we just got this to worry about. So it has too many vertices for the bridge edge loops to work super well this time. We could try minimizing that. Let's get rid of merge. Then we'll get rid of these and just kind of grab this one and tuck it in a bit. And let's just see what bridge edge loops looks like if we do it this way. Get rid of those. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It looks really not very clean. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's definitely not clean. Okay. So what we're going to need to do is basically get the same number of edge loops, the same number of edges on both sides. Right now the circle side has way too many. So let's see how many we have over here. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm hitting C to get this circle here, and we're just holding left click to drag across all these vertices. Then I'm going to hit 2 to see how many edge loops that is. That's going to be down here, and we have 18 edges. And down here we have significantly fewer than 18 edges. So we only have 8 edges down here, so we actually need 10. And there are two ways you can do this. You can either decrease the amount in this circle, or you can increase the amount down here. So what I'm going to do is subdivide. That way we get 16, and then we just need 2 more. And it's not going to look great again, but it'll be closer. You know what? In fact, instead of subdividing these guys, I'm just going to subdivide these guys. Not this one. The ones directly under this crescent shape here. And then we have 12. Let's see. Because I kind of want this to also be nice. If this is 12, and this is how many? This is 16, so we still need 4 at the bottom. Let's see where they'd probably go over here, wouldn't they? So let's add some more here. So that should be, what, 14? 14, so we need 2 more, and it's probably going to be these 2. Won't be perfect, but I think it'll look at least better, I hope. So let's grab all these guys again. Oops. I don't want those guys again. Get rid of these 2, and then try to bridge edge loops. And that looks significantly cleaner than before. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. But life rarely is. You know, considering how small this is, it's probably not going to make much of a difference, so we'll just go ahead and close that up. That's fine. That's fine. Good enough for army work. And we'll do the same over here. How did I do that? I subdivided all these guys, and then subdivided these as well. Once more. Click all. Wait, did I get anything else? No. Yep. Yep. Boop. Boop. And then bridge edge loops. And yeah. So we got that going. And, yeah. That's not bad. That's not bad. Alright. So let's go ahead and get these out of the way. These little, I don't know, bolts or something. So let's see. So they're just above this, their center point. So let's go through. And I just clicked on both, so we got both sides, and then I'm going to subdivide both of them at the same time. And I think the center point for it is a bit lower than that. It's like down here-ish. finish, and I'm going to use the F3, go to cursor to active, get that on one of those sides, doesn't matter which. Then we're going to open our circle with the Shift A to open that menu to get our circle, and then we're going to rotate 90 degrees. Then we're going to put S to scale it down to about that size. And then we're going to G and then X to move it out a bit because I'm going to do a knife project. So we're going to hit P with the circle selected, and we're going to hit selection. This will move it to a different object. And with this, with our main thing still selected, we're going to control click on over in this menu over here and get that circle back up. And then we're going to hit the X, whichever one, and then go to mesh, knife project, and then we're going to go to cut through, and now we have the circle shape on both sides. Alright, I don't think we'll need that circle cutter anymore. So now we're going to take this, wait, we actually might need the circle cutter, so Control Z, it might actually serve a purpose. It's not done yet, can't retire it. Okay, so I selected on both of them with just left clicked on this one and then shift, hold shift, and then left click on the other to get the other, and then tab to edit mode. And yeah, I think we can use this. So we're going to rejoin them after we just separated, and we're going to hold Control with both of them selected, Control J. Now they're both the same object again. And we're going to duplicate this guy and move it over here so they both have a partner. Put that over there, because I'm pretty sure the kind of bolt bit is like an Allen key wrench hexagon thingy over here, and it would just be better to make, easier to make this way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of these over here. And then I'm going to do the bridge loop that we did elsewhere. Right on here. This one doesn't matter if it's not too pretty this time. The edge loops, bridge edge loops, and now we got that going. And now we can make this a circle. Yeah, not bad. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Get rid of all these vertices in here. And what am I doing? Alt left click over here, and then collecting these vertices. Oh, and to get these, I'm holding Alt and Shift, and then left clicking, just to get the edge loops here. And then 2 for the edge, and then bridge edge loops. Bam. And then we're going to go back and do vertice menu with 1, Alt, and then left click to get all those, and then hit F to fill it with a face. Yeah. Alright, so this is probably going to be like a hex key-like thing, because it looks like they do similarly up here. It's difficult to see, but I don't think a screwdriver is getting in there. That's like an Allen key. So I'm assuming they're doing the same over here. And so with 3D cursor, I don't think that matters. With that 3D cursor, we're going to hit Shift A to pull up our circle. And this time we're going to give it only 6 vertices, because hex key. Just like that, and then we'll put it, rotate it. Okay, not rotating. Rotate it, there we go. And 90 degrees. We'll scale it down, and then we will, with snap up, we'll hit G, Y, jump, G, X. And then to one of these, it'll snap right to the front. And just like that, and we'll get rid of this face. And we'll shrink this down, maybe about there. There, I'll duplicate it just so I have it on this side as well. and get rid of that face, and then we will do our bridge edge loops once more. Bridge edge loops, ooh, that didn't come out the way I wanted. Let's see, calculate normals by Shift N, see if that helps. Might, it might not. Bridge edge loops, yeah, it's not gonna want to. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just connect these vertices like so. Get our edge loops, and then just do it manually. Get rid of all these. Face for F for face, and do the same. F for face, and then we'll take this, and then we'll extrude a bit inward along the X, and they'll fill that in, and there's our little hex keyhole. And we'll do the same over here. Manually give it some faces. Alt Shift to select the edge loops, and then C to get this, and then Shift to get rid of things, and then F, and Alt left click, F, yeah, there we go. And extrude along the X, F to fill in the face, and there we go. We got some nice shapes going here. Alright. So, continuing on, I think these will be two separate pieces here. So I'm gonna get this bit. That's not the inside, there's the inside. Let's get the circle and bring it down here. I just grabbed it with G and then hit Z so we can go along the Z axis, and then some snap is still on up here, just drag it down, and there we go. And now I'm going to get both of these, and I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, and then we're going to hit P to separate selection, and then with Tab we go back into object mode, and I'm going to hide what we just did up here, because now we're going to start on the handle piece. And the handle piece, let's bridge these edge loops. Okie doke. And it does stick out a little bit, so we'll scale it just a touch. And then we'll hit E to extrude and Z to go down. And then we'll tuck it back in with E, and then scale inward just a bit. And then we'll hit E again to extrude, and Z to go down, and we'll stretch it out again, scale. And then this is kind of a rounded part, so we'll go to X-ray view, select these edges here, and then we will subdivide. Hit 1 to go back into vertice, and then we'll hit scale to pull it out a bit. I think a little up with GZ. And then we'll go back into edge and then bevel this edge. And then we'll increase the bevel by rolling up on our mouse wheel. Give it a little more dimension, and I think that's about it. Maybe this can be a little different. That's undo with Control Z. And this could be out a little more. And let's do that again. Let's bevel that again. Bevel the edge. I think that about does it. Okay, and so this one we'll just E downward, EZ. Okay. So this is going to be a little tricky. Let's first get our F3 cursor to active. Actually, we want it to be in the middle. So we'll just click these, create a face, and then cursor to active. Okay, it's still not doing it. So let's poke a face in here, make this our active, and again cursor to active. There we go. That's what we're gonna want, and we don't need that center point anymore. And what we're gonna do is create these diamond patterns all the way around. This is gonna involve a lot of copy and pasting. So once we get this going, yeah, this is not the funnest part. but we will persevere. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Okay, first let's work on this, and then around here, subdivide. Let's get a plane, and we'll shrink that down to like 10 millimeters or so. And we will rotate along the X 90 degrees, and then we'll rotate it 45 degrees. So we have the beginnings of our diamond shape. And then we'll go to median here. So this is sticking out on the outside. And then we'll stretch it along the Z to create the diamond shape. I think they're scaled down a bit like this. Seems okay. Let me think for a moment, actually. So I think it might work better if that edge reaches the center of this area here. Might be a little cleaner. I'm just scaling it up so this vertex is as close to this other one as we can get. I think that's about it, maybe. We'll get rid of these. I gotta fill that back in. Okay, so in order to get that shape on this cylinder, we're going to pull back over here, and then we're going to do the knife project. So we'll P to select, separate it, and then with this one selected and this one, we can control click if we can. Okay, that one doesn't want to cooperate, but we just get it over here. And edit mode, then control click, and then we will knife project, bam. Now we have that on there. Let's get rid of these edges for now. We don't need you right now. Now we have you. So we're going to collect all of these, and then we're going to extrude. And we're going to face. And let's see. Kind of does something like this. And then we'll bevel. Not exactly. Not exactly. Extruding. I think these are kind of screwing it up here. So maybe if we get rid of those, create our own face. Our own face is here. Okay, and we're just clicking on these edges and hitting F. Get rid of the X-ray. Let's go on OK. Right, what is going on here? A little bit of awkwardness. Shift click and we'll bring you out. This actually shouldn't be out, should it? Like this whole thing. Let's get rid of this. And then do that over here directly on it. Feel like I might have selected the wrong thing. There. And let's get this aligned. So I hit, wait, do I want it to be? Let's shrink that down and see what bevel does at this point. That's not the direction we want to go. That's better. That's better. Okay, so the reason we wanted these bits to align was so we can duplicate it. And hopefully it'll line up pretty okay. So let's duplicate that whole shape, and then along our 3D cursor, which is in the middle of our shape. Oops, let me get this going too. Wonder if we want that. Maybe later. Maybe later. Okay, so with this duplicated, we will rotate along the z-axis to about there, 35. And hopefully that'll take us all the way around. So let's duplicate those two and go another. Dang, I keep selecting this guy. Another, let's 35, 70. 70, yeah. So far so good. Let's go, I think 140. 40, and we'll just do that again. There. Ah, poop. So there is a bit of overlap, unfortunately. Not too bad, we might just have to stretch it out a wee bit. Wonder. Should I eyeball it? I don't like the idea of eyeballing it. There's a math to this that I am not smart enough to understand. So all I have to go on is basically trial and error. So we'll try doing that. Oops. Let's hit, I'm clicking on this by hitting L. So click on that part, and then L on that part, and then Shift D to duplicate, and going along the Z axis here. I'll just keep that. Oh, poop. Why are you diagonal now? That's not good. Okay. L, rotate, Z, and let's collect this. And see if that is any better. Click this guy, and do the same. And then duplicate once more. Okay, I think that looks a lot better. I guess the spacing looks better. Say 273, 273. Alright, that's even at least. May not be perfect, but the world rarely is. So we'll just go with that. And what I'll do next is, let's get rid of these edges, because let's get rid of this too. Oh. And what we need now is half. of these. So, oh. So let's cut these in half right along this face. I probably should have done this before. They seem to be duplicates. Oh my. I don't need that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, all this is duplicating. Let's take all this and go ahead and clean up, merge by distance. I'm gonna go 0.01. That's the same. It's fine. Okay, that should clear up those duplicates. And let's create these faces. And we'll go, you know what, let's just do this a little bit again with our new heavy faces. Okay. Okay, so now that we have that going, we can take the lower half, duplicate, and we'll come up here, and we will try to get it in the center of this area, which I think is about there-ish. Yeah. Looks okay. And then we'll bring it down. Act like little teeths. We'll try to add snap to active and get it right on top of that layer. So that's nice and straight. Yeah, that don't look too bad. Alright, so next we will attach this to... that has to kind of come out, doesn't it? That's alright. Okay, so I guess we have to attach these faces like this. Oh. This is going to take a minute. So we're going to connect these faces in here. Okay. And I'm just clicking and then shift clicking on these edges and then hitting F to fill in the face. Just to clean things up here. Missed you. Okay. And now this has to come down. Wait. Yeah, this actually goes up. Let's go up. Oh. About no. And then we have this, and we have this, and now we can bridge these edge loops up. Not bevel. Bridge. And then we have that. And that looks kind of cool. Was there a space in between those? Not really. So we can bring this line down. We got X-ray view. Select these vertices, G, Z. Bring those down a bit. A little bit. I'll erase that completely. Okay. So now from here, we should be able to basically copy and paste. Because now we got this going. Is that going to work? Let's get rid of these edge links. Yeah, I want to collect one of the top ones and stick it on there. Oop. And hopefully they're overlapping well. Hopefully. And let's clean that up. See what we get. I think it looks pretty clean. Pretty clean. All those overlaps aren't there anymore. Yeah, alright. Alrighty then. Let's see. So we can just do that over and over again. And where is our picture? There it is. And with all that selected, we're just going to be dropping down. Yeah. Not bad. I hope this is going well. And guess I need to go upside down with this one. So let's mirror along the Z. And it went elsewhere. Went all the way up there. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It did mirror though. That's what counts. Okay, I don't think that's aligning perfectly. Gotta rotate it. My wrist just snapped. I think that about does it. Just gotta fill in. Let's go ahead and merge by distance, clean up again. And we'll just go around and fill those in once more. Oops. There we go. You know, no, it's not working. Oh well. Oh, you're still selected. Let's go. Alright, last one, and that is our beautiful lattice kind of handle. Alright, moving on. Let's grab this guy and extrude him all the way to the bottom, because our 3/4 bit of pipe is going to want to go through the entire thing here. Okay, and now we will work on the cap. It shouldn't be too hard. Let's see. Yeah, actually, wait, is the cap? Yeah, it's just kind of straight, huh? Do I have the circle thing? I don't think it's active. Oh well, that's fine. That is totally fine. We'll just do what we did before. It's way up there, but we'll get our circle. I'll drag it down, and we will add, actually, we need to add a bunch more vertices to that circle. Let's see, circle, and let's say 64? 64. Okay, let's go individual origins, try to scale it to about the size of our bit here. Seems okay. And there was kind of a blank space in between, so let's join these two. And then we will bridge these edge loops. Just bring that in. So that's a little more concealed. And there we go. Extrude a little bit here. And I don't know if there is some indentation there. So let's do that. Oops, did I hide it? There we go. There we go. Alright, so maybe a little up, and there does seem to be a bit going on in there. And then maybe it goes back out. And then it's kind of rounded off. And I think I recall from my first one that actually, let's get rid of that face. It goes inward and then has a little bit. Oops, the snap is still on. And something like that. And then we can bevel these edges here. Bevel, bevel. Round them out. Let's do that a little more. I think it could be beveled a bit more. I think this one and then this one can use a bit more beveling. Okay. And then it does seem a bit longer. Select these, add a bit more length. Maybe this too. And then we move this whole thing up a bit. What is going on with that? I'm thinking it's something like this, where these four instead are bridge looped, kind of like this, and these get deleted, and then it's like this is sealed up. Maybe. Like that. So what I just did was recalculate the normals by clicking on the whole thing and hitting Shift N. And normals are just the way the faces are pointing in toward an object or out toward an object. That can mess with various modifiers as well as color shading. It's always good to normalize those every now and again. Did I? Wait. What did I even do that on? Okay, I don't think I lined those up the way I wanted to. So we're gonna undo that and then redo it elsewhere. Okay, so lining this up, this is the center one. That won't work. So we want these four, these four. And we're gonna bridge these edge loops. And we're gonna set up our faces. And then get rid of these three. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Hitting period on the numpad to scroll over to the thing that you're selected on. And then we'll get rid of that. Edge loops, get rid of those. Bridge edge loops. And then we'll add these faces. And then I think one more over here. Yeah, pretty sure this is the one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll bridge those edge loops. Face. Face. Get in here. Get rid of these guys. And then once more. On the other side. Get rid of those. Edge. Get rid of those. Bridge. Face and face. And that should give us the general shape of that particular component. I think there might be more, but 4 is enough. Alright, that's our handly bit here. And I think that's almost the whole handle. Now we got this guy. Alright. So, it just fits right up in there, huh? You know what? I'm gonna make this into a separate shape. We're gonna bid farewell to not that piece. This piece, but our new piece. I'm gonna extrude up a bit. And it seems to just come out some. Just a wee bit. So we'll extrude and we'll go outward a little bit. And then we'll go up. And then extrude again. I think we'll just reuse this. We'll just mirror it. And Z. Active, plop that down, and then we will go mesh, clean up, merge by distance, and that should now be one piece. And then we'll do that again. And now that we have this going, we'll just copy and paste. Shift D to duplicate, Z to bring it up, and let's click on that one and there. And we'll just do that all the way up. Are these too thick? I think the angle of the picture is like a little pointed backwards, so it'll look a little different, but we'll get close enough. Oops. Let's do one more, and then we'll mesh, clean up, join all those, and then what is going on? Oh. Okay, so from this, it seems like we're moving on into another shape, which is like ever so slightly bigger. I wonder, oh, I wonder if I should print this separately, and then this piece will be its own thing. So you know what, we'll do that. I'll shrink this down just a bit, And then we will duplicate, separate, and start, dang it, start this one, hide you, get you back, and this will be something a little different, just a little bit bigger, and then we'll start moving up, and this turns into this. Scaling up, I know this isn't going to make the right shape, but I'm just testing some stuff out here. So I think this is maybe a bit more squared off than what we have here. So we'll try to scale this down a bit. Remove that. I'm hitting S and then along the X to scale. This will be a little less round. And then we'll widen this to compensate for that gap. More or less. And then we will subdivide here and basically do the same thing. This could actually be a bit wider. You know, if we're gonna do that, maybe we should just start over here and then extrude. But it looks like this comes outward a bit, which is interesting. Alright, let's ridge those. So we have basically that flat face, and then the curve. Is it curve all the way in here, or... It seems like it does something like this as it comes outward. Excuse me. I don't know why. Maybe it needs to be a little wider up here-ish. Do 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 do. That's more or less the shape we're going for, yeah? This bit's kind of wonky to me, but basically this will extend into the head to give it some structural support, and the pipe that we're threading in the handle will go all the way up, and in the other one I had some steel rods helping to support things in there, so that's probably what I'll do again. So let's go ahead and get that inner pipe, which we do not have right now. We can borrow this one. Come on, come on, come on. Gotcha. Alright, duplicating that, separate, and then we will join it to you, and then you will become one. Oop. Actually, extrude. Yeah, extrude. Okay, selecting these edge loops. Right. This never seems to want to work for me. I just recalculated the normals, still not going to work. Okay, fine. Fine, I'll do it myself. Whoops. Just face. we actually want to keep that open right now, because we are going to put those steel rod enforcement holes, and they need to be, for my 1/8 inch steel rods, they need to be 3.7 millimeters. So cursor to active, Shift A, circle, let's say that's just 32, and then I said 3.7, right? Yeah, 3.7 divided by 2, and odds. Alright, so we need that over here, and we also need one over here. So median, duplicate over here. Don't need that anymore. And these will be for the reinforcement, and we'll go all the way down here, and I'm putting a face on both of these ends. I'm gonna poke these faces, poke, and then we're gonna pull these out. That way the 3D printer doesn't try to print support in here. Because most 3D printers can support 45-degree overhang. This is much more than 45 degrees, so there shouldn't be any support, because this is going to be printed with this face facing the print bed. So that's why we're doing that. And we want to seal up this face. So we're gonna how best to do this? Oop. 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 Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of everything on this side, so I get a nice face here, a nice face over here, and anything else. That part's more or less done. I forgot about this handle part, didn't I? I didn't put, oh no, we do have some, just not all the way. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we must have duplicated all of this. That's alright. That's just fan. Just get rid of all of that, and then that is, let's get rid of all that one too. Then we'll extrude all the way up, and then we'll create our face over here. Seal this guy up. And that should be that part. Okay. And I should probably label these at some point. So let's go handle. I'll probably end up dividing that into a couple of pieces to make printing a little easier. But this will be left. And what else we got? Let's say top of and support. Alright, so we got the handle. And now we're gonna start on this head here. Let's see now. Okay, first thing I want to do is put our 3D cursor back to its original position. So I'm going to hit 0 in all these values. And we could bring it up by increasing the Z. Let's get a little more center. And now we're going to get a cube. I'm going to scale down the cube. Oh, one more thing we should probably do is apply all transformations. let's ignore the image, that's not important. All transformations. Yeah, that's why everything's scaled the same. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Let's try to get this size as accurate as possible. And again, the image is angled, so we're not exactly facing head on, but this is the closest picture I could find that had this very nice profile, so we could help follow the scale and such. The bottom is different from top. Makes things a little trickier. Not much. So it seems to already be beveled some, but the bottom's bevel is less beveled. I guess because of this opening here. So let's try that. Let's try it with a pretty modest bevel. That's this. As the angle is kind of warred. And this one, of course, is a bit more severe. But I do want it to be symmetrical, you know? Actually it might be, because this widens up, so these two might actually share, and it's just different here because of this handle. It's not a hexagonal pattern, it's not perfectly so. It's kind of close. Do we want it to be anyway? Just for symmetry's sake? Okay. Let's try something here. Just get just duplicate that. Let's move this outward. And let's bevel. Let's see what that looks like. If we actually did make it symmetrical. So, say about 55 millimeters. I feel like the middle is not enough, but then I don't think it's exactly hexagonal. I think the sides are wider. So let's see. Maybe 80? There. That seems better. Does it go inward a little bit here? Or is that just the angle? I don't think so, because this bottom part looks flat. It doesn't go upwards at all. I think it's just the angle of the picture. Okay, let's try beveling that at 87.1 to get that result. 87.1. Okay, and then we just have to deal with this bottom bevel, which is a little off. So maybe say 16. And then maybe we can join these two. Let's get rid of the faces. Hmm. Because those don't need anything, but these two do. They need something in between. Okay. Okay, let's bridge these edge loops. And then we'll subdivide. And then we'll bevel. That way only that's affected, and we will, with everything selected, Shift N to recalculate those normals again. It's not the curve that I'm looking for. How we get this curve? Hey, what I think we're gonna have to do is take this in just a bit. Just this part of this piece, and then we'll take it into the 3D cursor by scaling it inward. I don't want to mess this line up because that needs to be nice and flat. So maybe just these two. Maybe if these two are beveled? Okay, we are going the wrong way. I think there's an internal face, or the normals haven't been recalculated. Let's see. Let's see. That does give us that curve while keeping that slim. Okay, I think that's what we'll end up doing. I think we just need to squish this a bit more. Let's take this out. Here. You know what? Let's do this. Click on one of these and then scale. Let's go to active. Active, this is the one that matters. And then we'll scale on the X. That way that stays. And then I think we'll just... Well, let's see what it looks like. Let's see what that there does. I feel like we're on the right track here. Well, I think that's as good as it gets. It's got the nice curve, and the faces are kept flat. Yeah, I think that's what we're going with. Alright. And let's go ahead and bevel this face. Stretch it just a bit more. And then let's bevel. So we have nice round lines here. Does that seem too wide? And we need like a front-on pick, so we can just be meticulously perfect like I like to be. Obsessively so. But that should be okay. Oh gosh, my back. Okay. Alright, alright. Let's keep this show going. Alright, since that is in the middle, we'll take this and then 3D cursor and then mirror across the X. Get that over there. And then this should line up perfectly over here. Alright. And then we'll clean that up. And then we'll do the normals. Okay. Let's go in. Actually, let's go individual origins. Inward, because based on what we see over here, it has like a lip and then an inner face. At least that's what I did with the original that I made before. So we're gonna do that again. Going in and then face. Okay, okay. And are these all the same? Same length. This is 80, 87, so they are not exactly the same. So our charge is going to be a little off. That's okay though. Everything is okay. Let's bevel this. So make it a little smoother, a little nicer. Okay, so the charge. I wonder if we should make it equal across all faces, even though this technically is not. I think maybe we should save the beveling actually for later, because this is going to get kind of complicated. Okay, so let's subdivide these edges by 2, and then we will widen them. Until they each have, I keep thinking they should be equal, but they're not really, but they could be close. Let's say 45, just to give ourselves a number here. 45, this 45, yeah, that's 45. And then we're going to need to go inward. Like so. See just how much. Quite a ways, quite a ways. Like these. Now let's clear these faces. Only faces. And we're getting rid of, we're going to bevel these just a bit. Let's do that. Just very angular bevel. It's about right somewhere around there. Right. And then this will actually go inwards, so we can get rid of these faces as well. Let's scale them, let's say median. radian, I think, scale, and then hit Z. So we're just scaling along the Z axis. And I don't know why having exact numbers is important to me, but it is. Dude, come on. There. I feel like I screwed that up though. So Z, so we're going straight up and down. Alright. 9 mm exactly. And then we'll do the same to you. So this time we're going to scale across the Y. Oh, extrude, scale Y, scale. Oh, yeah, there we go. Exactly 9. Okay. Then we'll get rid of this edge on all of them. Boop. Now we have these recesses that the charge will kind of lock into. We got that. We'll fill in these faces. Alright, and we got these two. Oop. Oop. Actually, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I was thinking if these should also have like a point where they go inward. Maybe they should. Maybe they should. I think it'll give it a little more to hold on to. Is it necessary? I don't think so. Maybe not. Maybe not. Which one would be, stronger and such? And I think I had like 20 magnets on the original to hold on the charge. 10 on the charge and then 10 on the hammer, so they'd connect to each other. I think that was overkill. I'm thinking maybe just a couple this time. Maybe just on these wings. Because I had like 2 on the sides, 1 up here, and then 4 on the inside. So maybe this time just put them on the wings. I think that would be plenty. I think that would be plenty. We could always add more later. How deep is this charge? Get my caliper, see what that looks like. 18 mil. Seems pretty thick. I don't think it needs to be that deep. Maybe 10 millimeter. I'll probably be fine. Okay. Okay. Now that we have that going, we can start on the actual charge itself. How are we going to do that? So, thinking we'll use these faces. And then we'll have duplicate this. So that's basically the bottom of it, except because we want it to latch over it, it has to be a bit smaller. That's the tricky part. Because in my experience, in order for things to hook on tightly, they have to be about 0.5 millimeters smaller. There has to be a gap of 0.5 millimeters in between two connecting parts. And the wider that gap is, the easier they'll slide together, but the looser they'll fit because there's more space. So I guess we just gotta go with it. Let's see. I guess we'll shrink this down first. Let's go individual origin, or maybe even median would be good. And then let's see, that's 20. So 0.5, let's go down to 0.6. Wait, what is this one? 0.3, 5.6, maybe even a little more. So that should be able to fit in this recess now. But since this is still that long, let's shrink this down. Maybe 0.3 since that's 0.9. Good enough. Let's scale this outward a bit. Since that is 9, let's go 8.3. That should leave plenty of room, hopefully. 8.3. And do the same for these guys. Close enough. 8.3. Close enough. Okay. So those inner parts should be okay with a little gap into them, and now we gotta worry about these sides here. So this can be a little trickier. Let's do both of these at once. And we'll use this line to determine where that is. So it's 45 now. We can even go a full millimeter. It's just a millimeter after all. Oh, wrong way. Close enough. Alright, and let's shrink these down. Can actually do both of these. Along the y-axis, and again. 1 millimeter, and then let's get these all down at the same time. Let's just create this edge for this purpose here. Yep. And we'll use that to measure. Going along the x, 6.2, so let's go 55.5. Wait, what was it again? Yeah. 55.5 should be good. You know, these can be tricksy. Just like the hobbitses. Let's see. You know, we could just shrink the whole thing just a little bit more. Won't make much of a difference, just to be sure. Let's see, where's that line again? Let's go down, maybe 45. 45.5. Okay. I think we hit all the points we needed to. Because this will be able to like smoothly, whoops, let's separate these. Oop, so that's going to be its own thing. So that should be able to latch onto that pretty smoothly. Is it shrunken on all the sides we care about, right? And there was a little issue with the original where it was too careful and it kind of got stuck if when you pulled it out or pushed it in, it was at a different angle, even slightly off. He calls it the sticks, so actually better to be a bit on the loose side. It'll be up to the magnets to hold everything together. I kind of want these edges to be a bit looser as well. Just a bit. So that isn't a problem this time. So let's shrink it back down along the Y, and we'll give it another millimeter. Maybe another millimeter, 0.5. And we'll do the same for you guys. Say so scale Z. So 44, no, 42.5. Should be good. Should be good. Maybe we can even shrink this just a wee bit more. Yeah, let's go to 20. Oh, no. F.5. Hope I'm not screwing this up. Okay, so that should have plenty of room now. So that should lock into place pretty good. Alright. So now we'll expand outward a bit. Because these come up. We're gonna go out just like this. And that's set at kind of a diagonal. So let's go down here. A 4.5-ish. Maybe a bit more. Maybe down to 2 even. Oh. That'll be this face here. How much was this? 5.2. Let's extend this out as well. So we're going to extrude all these edges. 5.2, and then this will be down to 2. Okay, we just do that to these as well. Alright. 5.2 was it? And then just 2 over here. Close enough, close enough. And then once more. We getting there, folks, we getting there. Okay. One more time. Yep. Okay. Alright. And that's that part. And now we gotta come out a bit. No. Looks like we have some beveling. Wait. Looks like some parts are a bit different. So maybe this goes back in. These parts seem to be sticking out. Go outward like so. Then they go beveled. Bevel, bevel. But these parts seem to be on kind of a slant. Almost like that's not right. Go on medium point. Oh, we didn't need to subdivide that. Like that, maybe? Goes like this. Maybe. Let's see. Feels like this is pulled out a bit more. Kinda like that. Let's get all these. Something like that. And then there's these kind of teeth that go around it. Okay. Well. Alright, let's grab these and make sure they're lined up. Like X0. They were not. And then we'll line them up with these guys. And then basically do that all the way around. Okay, that's still over there, so we can just duplicate and then mirror across the Y. Oh, let's go to 3D cursor and then mirror across the Y. So we get it over there. A little bit lazy about that one. But this one, actually, I should be able to mirror it again. This time just across the Z. Yeah, that didn't work too well. And I think that about has it. Let's go ahead and clean that up. 6 vertices, not perfect. Not perfect. I'll just increase this by a tiny bit. See if we can get the rest of those. I think that about does it. Okay. Okay. So, I think these might not be needed. It's angled. I think it's more like this. Um, okay. Mm. Okay. Have that diagonal going. And I think this is kind of a flat face here. So let's look at the front of this. Is that? Maybe it is. Maybe it's just flat and there's just these guys coming off the diagonals. So maybe these are... Maybe these are more like this. And this is more of a flat face. I think we needed that 8. And then that's like this. And then we have those diagonal bits. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Okay, let's move the cursor to the center of this point. And then we will create a plane. And then we'll rotate that along the Y 90 degrees. And we'll rotate that 45 degrees, which is not actually perfect. Individual image. Let's put that a little closer. It doesn't have to be perfect. And This is a pretty cool feature. If you ever need an axis that's not X, Y, and Z, you can select an edge and then go up here and hit plus to create your new axes. And now you can use this, hit Y or X or whatever, and it will use that orientation. Make some things a lot easier. And I think these don't go past this, so it just basically goes here. So here-ish. And maybe this goes in here. Let's see how far, because we're working on these little bits here. And they go pretty far in. Let's do that. Extra axes again. Now we have this one, and we can go along here. Median point. Here, widen that a bit. Oops. And we will be separating this, so let's get that selection off now. Let's go ahead and mirror this across the Y. Oh, let's go back to 3D cursor, mirror across Y. Got it over there. And we can do it again. Go mirroring across the Z, see how that looks. Seems a bit off. I mean, it's pretty close, but it seems a bit off. I think this one was that one. Let's try putting a plane in here. To global. Degrees, rotate 90 degrees, and let's say 45 degrees. So I feel it should make something like a square. That's actually pretty accurate. Maybe it's my own perspective that needs changing. I feel like these could go up a bit more. Where'd it go? Edge. So it's snap is still on. Along this new x-axis. I think these could go down. Let's try another plane. This guy a bit more to align just a wee bit better. Oops. I think that's a bit more to my liking. So these guys can be retired. And I'll duplicate those. Mirror them across our... we gotta mirror them across across our goal level. Not X. Y. There. Alright. Okay. Okay. I'm pretty sure these are somewhat beveled. Just a bit. Maybe a little more. Okay, so now we'll use our knife project. Let's move this a little outward. Let's get that in edit mode. Let's switch over, control click that. Then we'll knife project. Don't have to go through this time. We have that shape on there now. Don't need you anymore, and we will take these and we will extrude them out a bit to create our little raised area here. And then we will bevel everything a bit more, just to make things a bit smoother, a bit nicer. Oh boy. Okay, so I just recalculated the normals. I'll try beveling again. Hopefully that works this time. Edge, bevel edges. There we go. Much nicer. Much better. Oh, I don't have this guy. Alright. One more time. And we're clipping a little bit. Just before we start clipping, that should be plenty. Nice rounded areas. Getting kind of close there. I think we're clipping again. Alright. That should be fine. That is not fine. Something is happening over here. I don't like it. Still got some weird colorations. Even after normals were... I hope that doesn't add up to anything else negative. Okay, so there's our charge, more or less. I kind of want to bevel some of these edges some more just to make it smooth. Guess it's not super necessary. Let's see what beveling this area does. It's still okay. Still alright. Let's get all this stuff. Let's get you two getting in on this. Let's get all these. This still? What's that look like? I think that'll be okay. Let's try to get all these potentially sharp edges, just to make it a little more comfortable in the hand. I think we need that one. I hope that's all of them. And then we want to bevel this as well. think we'll leave that one out of this. Let's get this guy too. That's about it. Let's hide this and get some of this as well. Just beveling everything basically. Actually, don't need that. Just these outer edges. Bevel these as well. We're going crazy with the safety checks here. Baby safe this thing is gonna be. I hope that's everything. And I hope that doesn't screw up. Looking pretty good so far. Look like any weird clipping issues or nothing across the board. I think that's about it. Now, since this is such an awkward shape, I'm definitely gonna want to print. Oh yeah, we still need the magnets. We still need our magnets. Okay. Which one's the head? Alright, let's just label this head. And this is the charge. Okay. We'll bevel the actual head of the hammer in a minute. But yeah, we need those magnets. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to get our cursor over here. And we're going to make a circle. How big does the circle need to be? Magnets, we need 9.5. 9.5, okay. 9.5 divided by 2. And that'll give us our radius for our circle. 90 degrees. We're using these little disc-shaped magnets here. We're gonna go out. Okay. And let me think. I think we'll just do both of them. Okay, so let's separate that, and then we'll do the charge first. Circle. Magnet cutter. Alright. We'll get magnet cutter over here, and then we will mesh, knife reject, and cut all the way through. Let's hide that. Now we should have our holes. I don't have to worry about the outer holes, those will stay flat. These have to go in for how much? Let's see, 3 point, no, I don't want 3.2. Magnets are 3 millimeters wide, so we'll actually go a little less than 3 millimeters. Let's get our edges back. Edge length. And along the y-axis we'll go 3. Let's do 2.7 actually. Those are our little recesses for our magnets. 2.7 again. And now we need some other recesses here, but first I think maybe we use our magnet cutter on the head. So we'll get that, and magnet cutter, and we will go through it all again. Knife project all the way through. Side. That way the magnets line up good. And once more, 2.7. And extrude on the Y. I can't see that. 2.7. Now we'll go to the top and bottom, and I think this time we'll just do the 4 magnets. So let's get this guy, and we'll get cursor to active, and we'll make our circle, and it should still have the dimensions before. Separate it, and click on our head, and then our new magnet cutter. Two. And we'll switch over. Now we got 2. Knife project all the way through. And we'll extrude that down. Down 2.7. 7. This guy also gets the treatment. Go. Close enough. Oops. That's that, and now we gotta do that again on the charge. So let's get that back. Back, magnet cutter 2. Accept. Oh yeah. Right, edit mode, magnet cutter 2. 2. I project, cutting all the way through. Hide. Now. Extruding 2.7. More 2.7. And those are our magnets. Now all we have to do is bevel the head. I think I'm gonna keep. I think we definitely want to bevel these edges, right? Okay, got these. Let's get rid of the edge links here. Get rid of those. I don't need those. I don't need those. I think that'll do it. We just want to bevel a little bit on these though. Just a wee bit. Just to keep from having any sharp edges that might get pokey. I don't like pokey up in here. Maybe we can get these two. Grab these guys. Ooh, this might be a problem though. No, it's moving. It's actually moving pretty well. Do I want these? Those don't really matter because your fingers probably aren't going to really touch those areas. Oh, that's nice and rounded. Okay, I think one of the last things is we need to make a recess for this area. So, pretty simple. We're going to take this shape. Oh, actually a little more complicated than I thought because this is a rounded shape. Wonder if we should just make this into a square up here. Because that would make things a bit easier. How necessary would that be, though? So we're going in about that. This is about halfway. Let me think here. Let me think. You know what? Doesn't really matter. Let's just bring this down. Just duplicate. Separate. Hide. Uh-oh. Okay, what happened there? What else did we do? All I want is this. Okay, separate. Hide. Now we will knife project this. What's this? I don't need that face. Okay. And knife project. So we'll get that, edit, and I'll grab you. Let's see. So knife project into that. Don't need to cut through this time. And that's our recess for that. But this outer area needs to be a bit wider, because remember it needs to be at least 0.5 wider. So from the, let's go individual origins. Let's see where that is. Get edge lengths. 1.5, so 1.7. Let's check all these other edges. You know what? Let's bridge these edge loops. See if it wants to. This will be fine. So as long as these edges are over 0.5, but not too much over 0.5. Should be fine. Okay, so this one is good. We'll scale this axis down, x-axis, by a bit, because that's a bit too much. You don't want too much of a gap, because you want it to be a solid hold. 7. That 7's all around, basically. Because the only thing that's going to be holding it is glue. That doesn't need much of a gap at all. Maybe just 6. I'm a little worried if it's going to be too snug or too loose. That's 6. Fractions of a millimeter here. Fractions of a millimeter. I think that will do us. So we'll get rid of this inner circle here. No, we'll use that, because now our head support should slot up in there pretty good. And how much is it supposed to go in? About so far. So we'll get that up here. Get snap, and then just a little bit further. 6.7. 6 point. That should be plenty. That should be plenty. Okay. Okay. And we'll get that in there, because I want the pipe to thread all the way into this headpiece. And we're going to have those in there too. So let's go in there and stretch that. And pokey holes. Poking the faces. And again, because of that 45-degree angle limitation, we'll do something like this. Hopefully that's around 45 degrees. Don't want it poking too high. We got plenty of space. No problem. So it shouldn't print support. Actually, wait. Yeah, it should be fine. Should be fine. I think, how do we want to print this guy? You know? Okay, so that's going on. Okay, we need to get some faces over here. These, and then just get half of those. Okay, and there. Get half of these. Boop. And that face should be good. Now we gotta do this one. Okay, so on the model, I think the bottom has a little Not so much decoration, but it's a little shape like this, and then this shape goes outward a bit, and then extrude again, and then it levels off. More like this. Okay. Fine. Fine. Let's get rid of these. And we got a face there and a face there, and that should slide right in to that. And there was something else I was supposed to do. Oh yeah, there's some decorations here, aren't there? Yeah. Yeah. So we got some more of those Allen key knobby bits and whatever this is. These slots. So I'll get started with them then. So let's make some planes. Rotate X 90 degrees. And we'll shrink. Edit. Drag that down. And then along this axis, we'll go to active, and then we'll turn V15, turn again, 15, and then extrude from there. It's not a face, that doesn't extrude as well as I would like. Seems fine. It's fine. Okay, where is our cursor? Let's see. Let's set cursor to active, which is down there now. Let's just go 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That way we can. Let's clean this up first, and then we can 3D cursor and then mirror it across the X, and then we will knife project. So select that, edit mode, select this, and knife project. And I don't want to interfere with those holes, so we'll just do this twice on both sides. And now knife project. Now we have this going. Selecty. And we'll go to median. We'll extrude along the y-axis and just go in, let's say 1.5 millimeters. It's about there. Actually seems kind of deep. Let's just go 1 millimeter. I got those. Now we gotta do our circles. Okay. So cursor's way down here. Got x-axis 90 degrees. It's about that big. Okay. Go back over here a little bit. And let's get our cursor over here. And then in edit mode, we'll make another one, and we'll do 6 this time for the little hexagon. On rotating x-axis, shrinky shrink. And now we'll make some more. And these are a bit smaller. Right. And I'll duplicate. Let's take off snap. And these are a bit smaller. I'll go over here. We'll put that over no. And then we'll duplicate, Shift D for duplicate, and then we'll go to vertices, mirror, and then we'll go across the X. That did not go. I don't know why. You're not going over there. Oh, because we're not using the 3D cursor. Okay. No, you're across X. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now we'll knife project once good. This shape, edit. Let's get these guys. Knife project. No, we probably didn't need to do the hex things yet. But, oh well. What is done is done. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Knife project. And let's take these. All these wonderful shapes that we have made. Let's get rid of, well, I think we might want edge lengths for this. Let's make sure we have median selected, and then we'll extrude along the y-axis. And there we have our screw guys. Alright, I think that's about it. We'll paint on the skull, so we're not going to do anything with that. I think that's it for that bit of modeling. Now, we're going to do some other stuff to kind of divide it. This will depend largely on your 3D printer, how big it is, how big of a build space you have. For one thing, we'll definitely want to divide this guy up, kind of like how we divided the handle into bits. Let's see. I think this face needs to be divided in 2 because it's very complex. There's just no angle we can put it at to print it nicely. So I think I'm going to divide it right along this line. So we're gonna, so I'm gonna put a plane, rotate it along the Y, 90 degrees. I'm gonna stretch that out. I'm gonna use a knife project to slice all the way through this guy. Edit. Get rid of these lines, and we're gonna go knife project, cut through, and that should be sliced in half very neatly. We'll get this, duplicate it. This will be its own thing over here. It looks like it went well. And now we have this nice flat face to print on. Just fill that in, and we'll just glue those two sides together. And let's get this one. Let's go click on that, and then do side of active over in the select menu. And it's already orientated well for us. So we'll get invert, select, and then delete vertices, and now we have another nice smooth face. And this will basically print, set origin to geometry, and this will print like this, and the other part will print in the other way, and then we'll just glue those flat faces together, so that'll be good. Charge, let's call this charge magnets, because it has magnets. Where's the other side? Where'd it go? What happened to you? Ah, this is still part of that, so we're separating that. That is charge. No magnet. And we'll do that again. Select that vertice where you want. Side of active, and then since we're on the good side, delete those, face, and now we'll call that side charge magnet. Okay, so those will print just fine. Okay, so since this is such a big part, I kind of want to hollow it out to help save on filament and space. And the way I did this before, I think this is probably a bit smaller than, let's see, if I can append, I don't think I have the whole thing. No. Well, it's probably smaller than the original hammer that I did. So hopefully it won't take too much. I think this center point needs to be printed all as one, though I did originally divide this in half. I don't know if I want to do that this time, but I will definitely divide these two chunks. So let's go get this vertex right here, and then we'll do side of active. And since I want this other side, we will switch over. Since we're on the X, we'll do negative. And that's the one I wanted, so I'm going to duplicate that, separate it. Where did we put you? Head, magnets. And then this side will be, let's do select, side of active, then we'll go positive, and Shift D for duplicate, separate, and this will be head plane, because it's no magnets, and select side of active, wait, I'll get this one, and then do select side of active, and we'll get rid of that. And then we can turn this into a nice flat face. Oop. Let's get all, am I missing something? What happened there? Huh? Are they not all on the same side? this one has all of those. So this shouldn't matter. Okay. Anyway, flat. And let's get rid of this side as well. Delete. Click on one of these vertices on the other part. Hit L to select everything it's attached to, and that's gone from this one. And now we have this guy, and we'll call this head center. And now I'm thinking this will print with this face pointing or resting on the bed. So this place will be upside down. Shouldn't have to have any kind of support or anything like that. And I don't know if we can hollow this guy out any, but I do want to have some support ready. We can get rid of these cutters and stuff now because I'm not going to use them ever again. Okay. Actually, I want to bevel this, but without screwing that up. Okay. Just to smooth that out a bit, a little more comfortable, a little more visually appealing, a little more physically appealing. Do the same over here. A little more comfortable. I feel like I want to do that here as well. Oh, actually, no. No, these are fine. These are already, well, we could do a little bevel. I ain't not gonna hurt nothing. Just a wee bit of beveling here. Let's clear up those normals. Hopefully that fixed it. Let's see. Yeah. Yep. A little bevel here. Just to make it a little more comfortable in the hand. Let's see. Okay, so another thing I like to do with the head is give it some steel supports going across. So rather than just super glue holding the faces together, we'll have that support. Okay, so this is not going to need the teardrop shapes. Okay. Okay. Alright, so what we're going to do is going to get a face here, we're going to put our cursor here, and then we're going to create a plane. We're going to put it, get it along the y-axis, enlarge it, and now we're going to use these corners. Alright, so make a circle. Make a circle, snap, median, like so. Actually, let's put our cursor up there, make our circle, and this is going to be for our 1/8 inch steel rod, so the diameter is 3.7. 3.7 divided by 2 to get the radius, and that'll be, Let's get some more vertices on there. Now we got that one. Now, since this is going this way, and we're printing using this face, it's going to want to add support to these circles. So to get around that, I created this, well, I probably didn't, but I'm using this system where we create these teardrop shapes instead of holes. So I'm going to add a plane here and a 90-degree angle just to get this diagonal, because that's a 45-degree line there. And we'll see when it, let's go back to snap to active. And once it crosses that line, like up here, this obviously crossed this line, so we need to bring it up a bit, just until we cross that line. And we'll do the same over here. And cross this line again. Cross this line. And cross this line. That way we can still make a hole, but the 3D printer typically won't need to fill it in with support, because that can be a hassle to remove sometimes. And since we are printing with this face downward, we're going to spin it up around like so. Let's go with this being the center, and now this being, wait, huh. It doesn't matter. Alright, so now we get rid of this. Oh dear. Oh, I didn't duplicate them. Oh. Duplicate, and there we go. Okay, now we can get rid of that. We have our teardrop shapes. And now we can separate here. Here is our support corners. And I will move these out a bit. And we'll go into edit, and then we'll knife project all the way through here. And we just gotta get rid of these faces. And then we'll take these edge loops, side, edge, bridge edge loops, vertice mode, grab these edges, bridge edge loops, oops. Alright, now basically we just do that to the two other head pieces. So we're going to hide that. This one needs a face. And then we will knife project. Now these don't actually need the teardrop shape, because we're going to print them with this face downward. All they really need is that cone shape that I usually do. I'll show you in a minute. Let's do that. Knife project. Doesn't need to be cut through this time. I'll just extrude these ways. They're not gonna interfere with anything, it doesn't look like. They already have faces, so that's pokey face. Try to grab all these guys. And this is also to help eliminate any need for support in here. So we'll make little cones like that. And then we do the same thing for the other side. Let's head plane. Need face, that is that face, is it not? I think it is. Grab this. Knife project. Already have that. And pokey face. Grab the center vertex we just made. And cone. And I think that is about it. Boop. There is our beautiful breaching hammer that we just put together. All the fixins. Looking pretty handsome. I probably forgot stuff, but we will pretend that is not the case. Alright, well, this has been Ken with Kenjutsu Bring It to Life. Thanks for watching. Oh, and also, we actually have a Hero Tier member. Huge thanks to M. John Simon for becoming my first Hero Tier supporter over on Patreon. Being a supporter tier gains you access to all the STL files for every single one of my 3D printable props, including this breaching hammer. But being a hero tier gains you access to the drawing that we'll do every month, where you can select one of the items that are available currently in the armory and get it for free. Shipping not included. But just about everything that I currently have in the armory will be up for selection. That's at Hero Tier Member. And I think that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. This is Ken with Kenjutsu. Bring it to life.